Hey everyone, it's Von Chipangu here, and this is, I guess, my first painting update of 2018. I've been working on some Marine Corps for Bolt Action, and I've got about 10 guys done, so I'm going to do them in little bits and pieces. I'm doing this on my desk today, as opposed to the table, just because, well, I didn't really feel like cleaning that table off. So here we go. Here's the first 3 guys that I did. I've got 2 guys just basically with rifles, and we've got the BAR on the end there. Yeah, the kit comes with a prone guy. I'm sure I've sounded off on prone guys with you guys before. I'm not a big fan. However, yeah, it's that cross we bear, I guess, sometimes, playing with little army men. But yeah, so with these guys, what I did is I started the basic green color, was an avocado color, and then I blended it up with another lighter kind of a color called eggshell, kind of an off-white color, and then I just brought it up and I gave it a small little avocado wash. The flesh, I'm going to see if I can move this guy a little bit here. You can see a little bit more flesh on this guy than the other guys. The flesh is basically how I did the flesh with all my other painting videos that I've done before, where I went in with the mix of the burnt sienna and the basic flesh, and then washed it, and then went over it again with the brick red and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, these are the first 3. I've got about 7 more I want to show you, and as promised, I've got a little bit of a surprise at the end. Okay, here's the next batch of 3. These guys have got the shotguns, which are, I guess, they're range 18 assault. I think 1 shot gives them tough fighters. And I've also got the guy at the end here, another guy with a rifle, but I decided to use the wounded head on this guy. As you can see, just put a little bit of blood on there, not too much. Yeah, for these guys, that's just a little thing, basically the painting. I did make a mistake with this guy here. I put the bandolier the wrong way on the wrong arm, but whatever, whoops. As for the dog tags, what I did with the dog tags, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to zoom in on this guy a little bit better. As you can see with the dog tags, and what I did there is basically I went in on black, and then I just went over it with a really light off-white and just did the kind of like a non-metal metallic on the dog tags, and it turned out pretty good. These guys I finished just recently, so I'm getting a little bit better at the helmet covers. But yeah, they're a fun little gang to paint. You can see some of the equipment on the back of this guy. Real basic stuff. I mean, I'm not going for a golden demon here. I just wanted a really good, high quality, tabletop. Maybe a 4 out of 5 paint job, I guess you could say. The basing, I still haven't finished the basing yet. The reason is I've got a Japanese force, and seeing as they'll probably be going up against each other at some point, I thought it would best to sort of make them both look the same. As for jungle terrain, I'm not a big fan of the fish aquarium plants that people put on there. It looks okay, I guess. I mean, my house is in a jungle, and I don't really see those kind of plants that often. I mean, yeah, sure, there are ferns and stuff like that are the size of a car, and weird tropical trees and stuff like that. But gigantic things like that, you don't really see it that often. It's a lot more scrubby, a lot more sticks and stuff like that. But anyways, let me show you the last 4, and then that'll be it. Okay, here are the last 4, the first 10 out of that box that I've painted. Here I've got the 2 SMGs, and we've got 2 more guys with rifles. I'm imagining this guy here, well, I can do it with the shadow. Isn't that kind of neat? This guy here is going to end up being an NCO or an officer of some sort. I'm looking at doing basically 3 squads of 8, probably 2 shotguns, at least 1 BAR, and probably 2 SMGs per squad, and then leaving the other 6 figures for like officers or MMG crew or something like that, because I got that the special figure, and he's carrying that MMG, so I'm definitely going to use that guy. I think I've also got a chesty puller somewhere. I might bust him out. Yeah, so far they've been pretty easy to paint. There's only about 5 or so colors on it. There's the green, the uniform, the flesh, then there's the webbing and the weapons. So they're not really intensive with the colors and stuff like that. But yeah, they're pretty quick to paint. You could probably do about 5 or 6 of these guys. You could probably sit down and you could probably do a pretty good job on these guys in an afternoon. So I've got one more thing I'm going to show you from the last video I mentioned, a bit of nostalgia, and then I'm going to have to say goodbye for this one. Okay, if you remember in the last video when I was showing you the loot that I brought back from Canada, on the cover, or pardon me, on the card of the blister from Ralpartha was this miniature, and this guy. And I mentioned, wow, you know, this is one of the first miniatures, if not the first miniature I ever painted, and I still had him in the cabinet. And this is him. I painted this probably about, I would say, 30-something years ago. I want to say when I was about 9 or so, possibly 10. Anyways, I used to play D&D with other kids in the neighborhood. You know, not much you can really do in winter. It's -30 outside. Even road hockey is impossible at that point. So, anyway, yeah, Ralpartha, this is a metal miniature, unprimed, totally unprimed, painted probably with enamel paint, I'm assuming, and a very, very terrible plastic brush. I'm actually kind of blown away by the amount of detail. Whoops. And that is another problem. He keeps falling over in the case, too. As you can see, I didn't clean it at all. He's pretty heavily chipped. He's pretty worn out here. But yeah, actually, I'm kind of amazed at the amount of detail. I mean, even if you look at his little ropey belt there, I kind of got in there. Yeah, so yeah, it's just an interesting thing, you know. It's always good to have the first one you did laying around, because then you always have that, you know, you can always say, well, look, I did get better. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope it's not too cold or too hot where you are. And yeah, keep on painting, keep those brushes moving. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.